All right, last year in 2025, I met with 590 realtors and did free consultations for all of them, all over the world. And each realtor has the exact same sales funnel, exact same process to go and get clients. You know the difference between those that sell 0 to 5, 5 to 15, and 15 to 50? What's the difference? The difference is literally who's got the most leads. If you're a realtor, your number one job is to get exposure. You need to get in front of people. You need more of these leads coming into your funnel so that you can go on more appointments, so that you can close more deals. That is the name of the game. As a realtor, who can get the most amount of leads? If you look at this, I always tell people that the average realtor talks to about 10 to 12 people a week. If you're in California, you have millions of residents, and a lot of them, 99.9% of them, don't know who you are. So to fix this, as a realtor, there's two options. You can either join a massive team and give away your life savings and pay 70, 80% splits, or you can go solo. Whichever route you go, there's 4 different ways to get these leads. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is which ways to get leads for free, or the ones that cost, are the most effective, most bang for your buck as a real estate agent. A lot of people that have worked with me understand that I will always reference that your number one job as a realtor is to get out of obscurity every single day. The beautiful thing about that is in real estate, you don't really have to be the best, like Luke says right here. You just have to be the most known. And if you don't do that, then it's a slippery slope as an entrepreneur. And most likely you're going to be out of the business. Look at the graph on year 1, year 5, year 10, and the reasons people fail as entrepreneurs, the reason they close their doors. A lot of it has to come from there's no cash flow, or there's no market research being done. Therefore, they don't get new clients. And what happens? Realtors are out of the business. And that's why in 2024, 71% of realtors ended up not getting any deals, any transactions. Now, the one thing that I see often is that when you get your license, or maybe you've had it for a couple of years, or you've had it for 10 years, and you're still having to aggressively prospect every year, it's because you're not going fast enough. You haven't found those that are a 10 out of 10 motivated to sell and relocate to that next house. You just can't find them. The ways that you're getting leads either are a complete waste, or you're paying for or chasing the wrong ones. And so your business doesn't really get off the ground. And that's usually the number one most confusing thing about real estate, is that there are thousands of ways to go get leads. Well, why not just focus on the ways that actually get the good leads, or focus on the prospecting methods that will go find the right people? Like I had mentioned earlier, there's 4 ways to do this as an entrepreneur, as a real estate agent, to go get leads. And you're either going to join a team that gives them to you so you don't really have to learn this, or you're going to go solo and you have to learn this as an entrepreneur. Most of the time, what happens with real estate agents is just like this diagram. Your line is in the wrong water. You're chasing the wrong leads, or you're choosing the wrong prospecting methods. And what's happening is the fish are over here. They're on the other side. You're prioritizing the wrong prospecting methods, and it's taking you forever to see a return. I recently read a book called The Science of Scaling by Benjamin Hardy and Blake Erickson, and they quoted Elon Musk in here, and they said the most common mistake of a smart entrepreneur is to optimize a thing that should not exist. Real estate agents are really well known for this. You're optimizing prospecting methods that you shouldn't even have as a way to go get leads. Now, if you want to follow our book club, because I get asked this all the time, make sure you comment 2026 book club, and it'll have all the books that we're going to read as a group in all my platforms. Make sure you get that and follow along. But that's what we're going to talk about today. This episode is how do we go fill the funnel with the most amount of leads and the right leads so that we can close more deals. Now, there's 5 or 6 different freemiums that I'm giving out in this episode. There's tons of ways that I can offer help. Make sure you hang tight. Now, one thing that I was asked recently is, what is a top producer schedule to go get these leads. If I didn't have any money or I didn't want to pay money to acquire leads, what would I have to do? What would my schedule have to look like in order to go chase those down so that I could do more business? Well, if you want this packet, it's a 12-page packet that I built on the top producer schedule. Comment down below as you watch this top producer schedule, and then DM me on Instagram and I'll make sure I get this to you. All right, so what are we doing on this whiteboard? Let's recap real quick. At the beginning of this year, I put together 12 episodes that will walk you through, no matter where you're at in your real estate business, we'll put you through a series to allow you to go build a business that, one, scales, and two, allows you to make $500,000 per year as a real estate agent. In order to do that, there are certain things that you have to understand and correct in your business. Obviously, today we're talking about leads, how to go create leads and not be dependent on somebody else, not be dependent on lenders, on teams, on Zillow, on Ylopo, and all the different ways to pay for leads. But how do you go create those by yourself? That's what we're going to talk about today. There are 12 episodes over the first quarter of 2026 that we're going to talk about. If you go back a couple weeks, we talked about 7 principles to follow, business planning. There was an ebook that's 55 pages long to help you build your business plan for the year. We talked about top schedule. And then last week we talked about emotional regulation, because you can't out-strategize a bad state. If you can't regulate your emotions, then your emotions will be the number one reason you don't grow your business, not even leads. So if you're watching these episodes and you want a free consultation, shoot me a text or a DM on Instagram after you comment down below, DM or business consultation. I did over 500 of these last year. I used to be a religious professor, got into door-to-door sales. Now I was a real estate agent, and now I'm the CEO and founder of Davis Sales Training, and I've worked with realtors all over the United States and Canada. And a lot of it is just allowing me to give a unique perspective on your business, and then providing insights, and then allowing you to go, no strings attached, to go make those changes. Now, if you want to get into one-on-one coaching, or you want to get into or join our brokerage team and you want all the coaching for free, then there's multiple ways that I can help you. You can get into our role play, which runs twice a day. There are agents that are closing deals left and right because they have the right scripts. You can get into one-on-one coaching. I only do about 5 to 10 of those at a time just because it's so hands-on. Or you can join the brokerage team and you can get all the courses, all the script books, all the role play, all the in-person masterminds for completely free. So there's lots of ways I can help you, but if you want to get that free consultation, make sure you comment it below. And then also, as of 2 months ago, we recently did a free call for 30 minutes on Tuesdays, and we take a realtor that closed a deal, and then we replicate or train on how to replicate that in the next 72 hours. And then we give out $100 as a fun incentive to whoever replicates it the fastest. If you want to get in on there, we just crossed over 100 realtors. Comment free worldwide training and DM me on Instagram. Okay, so let's jump into this. All right, so how do we get unlimited leads? How do we just pour unlimited leads so that while you're asleep, you have leads coming in? While you're with your family, you have leads coming in. That's the name of the game. If you can create a scalable business where you have leads coming in, then you'll be allowed to do business at a scalable model over time. Now, what happens is when agents report numbers to me, a lot of times, if you look at their exposure category, how are we getting exposure? You go all the way down and it's almost zeros across the board. It's not enough. You're not talking to enough people. And what happens is because there's so many people in your market, no one knows who you are. There are so many other realtors that are talking to more people and they're closing the business. So how do we solve this? Well, let's jump down to this. If you take notes, your biggest obstacle is going from obscurity to awareness every day. Most of the time, your audience needs to be reminded who you are. They don't need to be taught. So if you're prioritizing social media or YouTube or flyers or doing first-time homebuyer seminars, most of the time, that stuff doesn't matter. People just simply need to know who you are, that you're an option on the table. If you look at it like Coca-Cola, or you look at it like your Hydro Flask or Nike shoes, and you're the first person to invent that product, how would you do that? You have to look at yourself as a realtor, as a marketing agency. Your job is the same as all those companies. You have to let people know that you're an option and that you exist, right? If you look at, for example, the state of Utah and the population, most people don't know who you are. You're this little tiny rock right here. And simply, you're just not even an option. You're not on the radar. You're not on the docket for people when they go and choose you as an option. So like I had mentioned earlier, you have two options to go get leads as a realtor. You can join a massive team and you can pay a ton of money because they're going to go get the leads for you. You won't learn how to get your own leads. You won't learn how to close the deals on your own because you're being spoon-fed that. And that's totally fine and it works for some realtors. But you're going to have to pay a ton out of your commission checks, and there's almost no cap. You're going to pay that no matter how many deals that you pay. Now, again, for some realtors, they want that because they don't want to have to learn this next part. And if that's the case and you're watching this, totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to learn how to go do this on your own and create a business that scales over time, where you don't have to pay or be dependent on somebody else growing your business, then now, welcome to entrepreneurship. You're doing what all these people had to do to grow their business. You're having to do the same thing Jeff Bezos did, the same thing that Elon Musk did, the same thing Phil Knight did when he grew Nike, the same thing everybody has had to do. You're now stepping into the realm of entrepreneurship. You're not dependent on anybody else. Now, if you need a business planning workbook to go help you build this out, to figure out a way to build sustainable leads over time, then comment business planning workbook. I built a 55-page workbook for you to go figure out how to have leads consistently coming in to your business. That workbook is completely free. Comment that below and then shoot me a DM on Instagram. So if we look at how to get leads, we had mentioned earlier that there are 4 ways, whether you go on a team and you're spoon-fed everything or you go by yourself. There's 4 ways to do that. If you go buy Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Leads, this is where he talks about this, and he refers to it as the core 4. So as a realtor, there are 4 ways for you to go get leads. Warm outreach, so reach out to people that already know you. There's cold outreach, people don't know you. There's post free content. Right now on my social media platforms, I'm posting 6 to 8 times a day, and people still don't know who I am. Or you can run paid ads, which if you're in our 100K in 90 days, Tuesday free call, that's what we're covering today on that call, is how to run Instagram ads, follower ads, and then convert off of those. So again, if you want to get in that group, comment down below, worldwide free training, and then shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll add you in there. It's completely free. So as a realtor, these are the 4 ways that you can go and get leads. You can grow your business like a business would. So if you do warm outreach, we'll talk about this down below, but that's database outreach, calling the people that already know you, DMing and engaging with people on social media that already follow you, quarterly events for current and past clients and family members. Cold outreach is going to be the for sale by owners, the door knocking, the DMs on social media, the people that don't know you, cold calling, circle prospecting, investors, emailing, cold calling lenders, leads in the past. That's all that cold outreach because they don't know who you are. Then posting free content. That's short form on all social media platforms. That's long form. That's webinars, going on local podcasts. And the last one is running 3 to 4 paid ads on Instagram or retargeting ads. Those are your choices. Or, like I said, go on a team and they'll do this all for you and you'll never have to learn how to grow your own business, which I would advise not to do because it's a slippery slope. For 4 or 5 years while you're on that team, you're building that team's brand and all those leads are owned by the team. Why not go learn how to do this on your own? Go learn how to be an entrepreneur. Luckily, they all have autobiographies, and luckily you have this video that will help you learn how to go do that on your own. So let's talk about this. How do we do this? If you look at the schedule of, like I had mentioned before, those that do 0 to 3 homes, 3 to 12, 12 to 50, 50 plus homes a year, again, remember, they're focused, those that aren't doing a lot of homes, they're focusing on things that don't yield a lot of results, that aren't generating leads. So their pipeline is completely dead, or they're not generating enough leads, and so their business dies. They're optimizing things that should not be on there. But a top producer, those that are doing a lot of homes, their main task every day is to fill the pipeline, generate leads. And not only leads, but leads that are actually going to convert. They're prioritizing the ones that make the most amount of sense. So if you look at this, remember, there are 4 ways to do this. You can either build a foundation off of outbound prospecting, so the cold and warm outreach. You can post content, short or long form. The benefit of this is that you can literally be sleeping and the algorithms are going to go find you leads and pull them to you. So you wake up, you have new followers you can DM, you have new consultations that were booked because of the content that you're creating. I can't tell you how many times I work with realtors that they end up getting on my calendar from a video that I made a year ago. So the benefit of this is that it runs for forever and it allows you that freedom, because when you door knock and I put in 4 hours, I'm done. But with content, it'll run forever. I just can't build a business on that while I'm trying to scale because it takes a while to burn. And then you have obviously the paid ads through Instagram. So today we're going to talk about the foundation, which is the outbound prospecting. So if you look at the core 4, that is your warm outreach and your cold outreach to solve the issue that nobody knows who you are. So from left to right, these are the most bang for your buck ways to go generate leads and fill your pipeline as a business. On the left, you have FSBO and expireds. Again, remember, we're looking for people that are a 10 out of 10 ready to go. That is what we're trying to find. So right here, every realtor's goal every day is to get in front of people that are a 10 out of 10 ready and motivated to move. Those are the types of leads that we're trying to generate. So FSBO and expireds, they're a 10 out of 10. They're ready to go. Then you have investors. Investors are very logical. Find me a deal that makes sense, I will buy it. Or at the end of the year, they say, hey, I've got $200,000 to offload. I need the right deal. So those are your biggest bang for your buck. They're the easiest leads to go find. And there's a couple ways to do that. Then you have database, door knocking, open houses, cold calling. And then on the other side, you have the social media, YouTube, flyers, networking events that just take time for it to build. Now, whatever you choose as we go through the rest of this, there's 4 things that you have to ask yourself as you start to learn to generate leads to grow your business. Are you not doing one of these because of laziness? You just haven't watched enough YouTube videos, hired the right coaches, got the right courses, got in front of the right people to get the right information? Is it just because you're lazy and that's why you're not generating leads? And that's probably why it's tempting to go on a team and give them 60% of your commission for the rest of your life because you don't want to do this. That's okay. But you have to admit that. Is that the reason you're not generating leads? The second one is identity. Do you not see yourself as an entrepreneur, as a 1099 independent contractor that's growing their business, just like Apple or Walmart or Target or any other company had to do from the beginning? Is it the how? You just don't have the right coaching. You're not in the right or on the right calls or with the right people or have the right mentors. Or is it just because you don't have enough at-bats? Remember, Steph Curry shoots 500 shots a day. You have to get the at-bats and you have to get the skill development to get your elbow in the right placement and have the ball come off your hand the right way. It's the same thing when we talk about outbound prospecting. Now, if you look at this, this is kind of what we're going to do over the next 5 to 10 minutes to wrap this up. But again, remember, if you want a business planning workbook that builds all this out for you so you can generate leads, comment business planning workbook, and I'll make sure I get that out to you. Now, when you look at your goal for the year, if you have that workbook, open to this page, there's 2 things that I want to mention. One, generating leads is simply a numbers game. If you know John Tsai, he's the president of EXP Canada and one of the best to ever do it. He talks about how 12 contacts equal 1 lead. So in regards to getting leads, you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to prioritize off this list? And I need 12 contacts, 12 at-bats to get 1 lead. 5 leads will get me 1 appointment. 2 appointments equals 1 contract. So 120 contacts a week, that's all we're trying to look for. A plus B equals C. Talk to people, go on appointments, make money. That's literally the industry. So you're trying to figure out, who do I talk to so that I can have 12 contacts to get that 1 lead, and then just go down the funnel in order to get in front of the right people. Now, or Alex Hormozi has another phenomenal quote that says, figure out what you want, So you want to generate leads to grow your business so it can scale. So you do 5 deals 1 year, then 15, then 30, then 50, etc. So he says, ignore the opinions of others, right? The issue with the real estate industry is there's thousands of ways to generate leads, and it's very easy to get distracted. But we're going to pick 4 to 7, period. That's it. And we're going to put the blinders on and go build your business. He continues to say, do so much work, it would be unreasonable that you fail. That's it. So whatever prospecting method you choose, we have to understand that we need to do so much of it that it's unreasonable that we fail. So what you're going to do is, this is the layout. If you've watched the previous YouTube videos on this series that we're doing in Q1, you have seen a similar workflow. But again, in regards to getting leads, this is kind of how it looks. All right. So if you're going to do cold calls for closures expired, so let's say that's one method you're going to choose to go get leads, to grow your business. You need to identify what weekly and daily systems am I going to follow to make sure I have enough leads coming in on that prospecting method. So what you could do is 3 to 6 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday, you're going to purchase the software Mojo, or you're going to skip trace or do whatever you want, and you're going to reach out for 3 hours a day. That will help you generate leads coming in on a consistent basis, which will compound over time. And then all of a sudden now I can get deals from that prospecting method. Then you have to ask yourself, is there anything monthly I could do to generate the leads as a system under that prospecting method? Well, you could do a monthly email. You could send Crumble to your top prospects for the month, something to outreach to those that you've connected with, but they haven't signed the contract. And then you have to identify what's the distraction under that pillar that will prevent me, that will bog down the leads coming in. If you look at it as like a pipe, is there something that's going to clog it that won't allow the leads to come in? You have to identify that as you pick it. Because remember, one of my favorite quotes from James Clear in Atomic Habits, he talks about how before you try to increase that willpower, decrease the friction in your environment. So when you're talking about building leads and getting leads, you not only have to identify which method you're going to use, what's the weekly system that I'm going to implement to get those over time, to systematize it, to remove all luck and chance from my business, but then what's the distraction? You're going to do the same thing for every prospecting method you choose to go get leads. If you do social media, one weekly system would be 4 to 6 stories a day, 2 posts as a minimum per day, 25 DMs per week, and try to chase 3 consultations per week that you book. Okay? And then you go to monthly, and then you go down to the distraction. You have to choose all 4 of these for each prospecting method, and that'll help you consistently generate the leads. If you don't go down this list, if you don't pick the daily and weekly system to follow, the monthly or quarterly weekly system to follow, and the distraction, then what happens is you're going to have all these leads come in, and then you're going to stop. Your pipeline's going to get dry, and then you have to build it up again. You want the systems in place. So you want to be able to take your calendar and you want to implement all the prospecting methods so you consistently have leads coming in. So for example, if you look at your schedule, let's say that right here, you did database outreach or FSBO expireds. So you're going to put that on your calendar for 1 hour a day, and that's going to allow a consistent generation of leads or a consistent creation of leads every single day for your business through FSBO and expireds. Let's say now you want to do investors. So for the next hour every Monday, you go tour a fix and flip, you make 2 social media videos, and you call 5 investors. That allows you to consistently generate leads from that prospecting method over time. The name of the game as a realtor is, can you create a weekly schedule just like this that allows you to generate those over time? If you have watched the previous episodes, we talked about the top producer schedule in week 3. You can go back and watch on YouTube. But that's essentially what you're doing there, is you're picking the right prospecting methods so that you can generate the leads, because the name of the game in real estate is who has the most leads coming in. And if you follow this pattern, you don't have to join a team that charges you 50 to 60% per year, even if you sell 50 homes, and they're taking hundreds of thousands of your dollars because they're the ones providing the leads. Just simply shift how your business model is created and focus on How can I go get those leads versus having someone pay for them? And if you do that, if you're the one that's creating the inventory for the market because you know how to go get the leads, then you're going to have all these people that come to you because you're the one that's generating them. You're the one that's doing the work to go and create those. So let's wrap up. What's your biggest takeaway from today's episode? How are you going to solve this problem right here and get out of obscurity? Which prospecting methods from this list are you going to choose? And what are the daily and weekly systems to generate consistent leads over time? Make sure that you have your line in the right spot. Make sure you are fishing where the fish actually are. If you don't do that, if you don't go fast enough, then what's going to happen is you're going to run out of leads and you're going to be out of the business because you're prioritizing things that should not exist on your calendar. Now, if this seems like the approach you want to take, if there's anything I can do to help you, comment free consultation down below. I'll make sure to reach out so that I can help you build a business that's scalable because you're generating leads on a consistent basis so that your business grows. Thanks a ton for watching this. Next week, we're going to talk about the 6th most important thing to help you go grow a business that can scale. Make sure you catch that. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you hit subscribe. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you next week.